And I don't
Yeah.
listen, I don't want to bash America because I love being American. But at the same time, there's always room for opportunity. And I feel like,
No, and 100%. I think America and people, but there's also things that are fucked up in Europe, right? I feel like,
sure.
and I'm saying this as a European, people always compare Europe and they say, oh, Europe, such low crime rate, such good, health, whatever. But also, it's hard to compare a country like Switzerland
Right.
with the United States of America because the diversity, and not saying that diversity is bad, but like having a country that is so homogenous, it makes life a lot easier and it's smaller, easier to manage. The US is so big. I mean, the US is like Europe, if you think about it. It's not like
Yeah.
Germany or Switzerland. So
You're just funny. It's funny, the way you tell the story and everything.
Funny how?
Come here, though. Yeah, he's crazy, see? Who are you?
We interrupt this program to bring you a special report.
Are you ready?
that I appreciate it. Dude, I'm telling you, like 7 people separately sent me that reel of yours that broke my heart about it's a me,
Bro.
not meaning it's me.
Well, and I have gotten so much backlash from that. It's hilarious because I think I saw that like in the meme or something. Like if you type in Itsumi
Yeah.
Super Mario, there's like a meme from like Hercules or something. I'll try to like screenshot and put it up.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just saw it and I was like, I have a whole series because I do this podcast, which is about, health, wellness, social media, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then I have kind of a joke one where it's me versus me.
I saw that. I thought it was so smart, that concept of just
Thanks, dude. Yeah, and it only started because like, my wife has been on the podcast a couple times. And ever since the pandemic, I've been doing this virtually because it's been opening up like someone like yourself. I would probably never get an opportunity to see in person. And
Yeah.
I've interviewed people from Australia and UK and China, and it's just been cool to do it virtually. So I have a whole
Yeah.
studio here, but I haven't had anybody in for quite some time. So I'm like, fuck it. It might be kind of rad just to like
with yourself. That's
do me
hilarious.
versus me. So I started doing it. So there's a lot of videos on there that are like dad jokes and I'm just fucking around. And then for whatever reason, that Mario one just took off. I have a couple now that are cracking like 500,000, but that one is up to like 10 million or something.
I saw it, and it makes sense because it's shareable. Because 7 people shared it with me, so there must be something there. So,
Well, it's shitty because people think it's serious. So like, there's this whole. Even the UK wrote an article about me saying that I'm spreading fucking false.
Oh my god, you're like CNN, just fake news.
Dude, it's so stupid. And even in the description, it says this is definitely not true, but it would be funny. Like it says it in, this is not true. So, but people don't read that. They just, look at the video. But it's all good. I mean, people that follow me know me that I'm fucking around.
Yeah,
so I'm not hurt by it. But it's so funny how crazy the internet is.
But I realized that's the thing. Like whenever you do something that's controversial and people comment, and you also have people that are not on your side, those videos are the most likely to go viral, right? Because people comment about it and fight in the comments about.
Yeah. Because that's the goal, right? Is you want them to fight.
Sure. Dude, I made one about Arnold Schwarzenegger because I have a lot of German related stuff. And, in German, Schwarzenegger, Schwarz means black, and the last part means N-word.
No.
So I made a reel about it. But what it really means is like, Egger means creek in Austrian German. So like, it's just, if you spell it out, yes, that's what it actually means. But that was not the origin of it. But I just said it, and then people were like, again, same thing. They were all the Austrians and German speaking people were like, Mario, how can you say this is not even true about our language? I was like, yo, it is.
But it is though.
It's comedy, dude, but yeah.
Yeah, comedy is funky. So, I mean, you're a comedian in, where are you at now? Are you in LA?
Los Angeles, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
How about you?
I'm in Florida, so I'm literally
Florida. Got it.
Yeah, man, on the other side of the country. See, this is what's cool about doing this shit virtually. It kind of blows because I like doing stuff in person, but
yeah,
like this is awesome.
Yeah.
So you are you from Germany?
Born and raised in Germany. Yeah.
Born and raised. Yeah. When did you get to the States over here?
I mean, I moved here like 4 years ago officially. Actually, right before COVID happened. I got a place in LA right before COVID happened because I did one stand-up comedy open mic, and I was like, "This is it. I'm gonna do stand-up comedy." And then I got a place here next to an improv comedy school called Second City. in the
Oh,
middle of
yeah.
Hollywood. And then like a week later, I signed my lease, and a week later, everything shut down, and that place never opened again. And stand up stopped
No.
for like a year and a half in LA. Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah,
But
I got a
yeah,
buddy that lives out there, Chris Levine. He's an actor, and yeah, he
Mhm.
was struggling during that time too, and especially now with the strike and everything that's going on, it's just been hard,
sure, sure.
you know, for the whole industry. But they've had some challenges last couple of years, and I keep telling him because he's from Florida, and I'm like, bro, it's nowadays you can make it anywhere. I mean, as great as Cali is, it's
Yeah.
just
Dude, so many people left and moved to Florida, including myself. I actually moved. My accountant told me, "Hey, Mario, or have you ever thought about leaving California for tax reasons and other
Yeah.
stuff?" Right? Everything shut down here. So
Right.
I actually did go to Florida and thought I was going to live in Miami. So I moved. I got a
Oh,
place in Brickell for like 3 months.
fuck yeah,
Um,
love Brickell.
and I loved it. It was great. However, though, when it comes to doing something creative, I felt like Florida or Miami specifically, there's a lot of creativity when it comes to street art. But for
Mhm.
stand-up comedy, it feels like people go to Miami to do cocaine and go on yachts,
Right.
and not so much
Yeah.
work on the craft. Which I feel like
Yeah.
there was a more creative community in LA and New York. New York more so than LA for sure.
Sure.
So yeah, that's why I moved back. But like, and the summers were a little too much for me as a German. But
Yeah,
other than
yeah.
that, it was beautiful. Brickell was amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Brickell's great. No, you're right about the art though, because I used to live in Fort Lauderdale actually, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's I think actually cocaine and yachts is on the Miami flag if they actually had a city flag.
Yeah, it
Um,
should be. It should be.
it's kind of gnarly over there for sure, but there's not a there as much as they celebrate creativity and diversity, it's great, but yeah, it's very niche in terms of
Mhm.
like the creative aspect. Like, and in
Yeah.
fact, I would even say if you are ever thinking about Florida again, um, Orlando obviously is a shit show, but
Okay.
that's a good spot. Tampa is probably the fastest growing city in Florida. I'm kind of near Tampa. I'm in Apollo Beach, but
Okay.
Tampa is like where Burt Kreischer, if you're familiar with
Oh
him.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So he's a Floridian, and then I think even
Does he
Channing
still live there? Do you know if Burt
I know
Kreischer still lives there?
I think he has a place here. He's performed here a couple
Yeah.
times. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's an
Cool.
animal, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a
yeah, yeah.
machine.
He is literally.
But yeah, it's a really cool creative spot because there's the improv is in Tampa.
Yeah.
And there's just a really cool, not just diverse crowd because that's what Tampa is too, but it's high end, but it's like Jacksonville prices. And Floridian
Okay.
kind of knows where I'm at because Jacksonville is kind of like, you don't want to live in Jacksonville because of the people. But
Yeah.
Tampa has like Miami people, but Jacksonville prices.
Interesting. Yeah, I want to
it's
check
up
it
and
out.
coming. That's cool.
Do you live in a place where people like wrestle alligators in their underwear, stuff like that?
Kind of.
Kinda. Yeah.
Pretty close. Yeah, pretty
Have
close.
you ever wrestled an alligator?
That's all of Florida, by the way.
That's all.
Yeah, there's only a few parts of the state where we don't wrestle alligators in underwear. No, but there's a lot of places like a little bit south of me, near the Everglades.
Yeah.
So I'm a couple hours away, but I mean, you could go like riding on airboats and jumping. I think Gatorland is pretty close by. I don't know if it's still open. I haven't been there in a while. But yeah, dude, these
Okay.
motherfuckers are crazy over here, dude. Like
I want to see that because I hear so much about that, but I've never, like, as a German, I've been to LA, New York, and Chicago. I've been to the big cities, but I kind of want to go to like the small town where people just fight rattlesnakes and
Yeah.
have no teeth, and that kind. I want to see that side of America a little bit more.
Hell yeah, Jacksonville's the way to go. Jacksonville's you got
Okay.
you got some rednecks up there. Sorry
We're
for the people
going.
in Jacksonville listening. Yeah, but it's
It's all good.
Florida's kind of wild, man, because we have this stigma of like, the crazy, out of control, overweight people at Walmart parking lots.
Yeah.
But it's not really the state. I mean, don't tell anybody this, but we
Okay.
kind of like let people believe that because we're trying to keep fucking people out. Like we have way too many people. Because if you were to walk around in Florida for a week, you
Mhm.
might want to run into one crazy person.
Got it.
It's not as common as people think, but we enjoy
Yeah.
the stigma, I think, just like Texans enjoy the stigma of like
Sure.
cowboys and rustic.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
You go to Texas, no one's fucking like that. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
they like the persona of it, I think.
That's funny. You see more crazy people in LA. Like I walk down West
Oh.
Hollywood right now.
Yeah.
You'll definitely see some, I was attacked by a homeless lady the other day.
No.
And it's weird. What do you do? Like literally, I was walking past. It was like it was also like it was a couple of months ago. It was on Father's Day, and I was walking down Hollywood on a Sunday. It's like
Right.
11 a.m.
Yeah.
And I was walking down the street, and this homeless lady. I mean, I don't know if I can. She was like, "Get the fuck away from me, you fucking f slur." All right. And I'm not even gay. So I was just walking past, and then she said that to me, and she ran over to me, and she literally like started punching my shoulder.
Whoa.
Like completely out of her mind. And I was like, what do I? So I ran away from her.
Yeah. What can you do?
Because what can you do? You
Yeah.
can't fight back.
Here's the weird thing with Cali is even if it was a guy and you were to fight back, you would get arrested just because they believe in, they don't even call them homeless. What do they call them? The non-housed or something?
Unhoused, I think. Yeah.
So they're going to defend them because they're way more important, Mario, than your life.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I didn't fight back. It just looked a little weird because I saw these people. They were looking at me from the other side of the street, right? And it's just like the 6'3" German dude just running away from like a tiny homeless lady, just like.
That's great. I mean, dude, do you have any plans of like leaving LA again? Have you thought about it? Because I mean, I would imagine now, especially with everything that's going on over there. I mean, my buddy keeps telling me it gets worse and worse every month. He just can't.
Yeah. So I just moved to West Hollywood, which is like a little nicer than Hollywood. I got a place with my girlfriend. Nice. And it's funny though, the day I moved here, I was like, yeah, we're in a nicer neighborhood now. Literally the day we moved the last couple of like chairs and stuff and boxes, there was a blockage on the road, and there was a SWAT team that flew in because somebody was shot in the apartment building. Like literally, like this is the building right on next door. Somebody was shot there. So I was like, God damn it! I moved to WeHo to have a nicer life, for my family, and
then here you are.
Yeah, no. So I thought about leaving LA just for. I'm thinking more and more for stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
If I moved anywhere, I went to Austin, and I'm going back actually in a week to do some shows there. Nice. Austin's amazing, but Austin is like I don't want to break it down just the weather, but I was there during a heat wave, and I don't know if that's how it always is, but if that's how summers are, I'm not gonna fucking do it. It's way too.
Dude, it's pretty hot there. Stand up in particular, I would imagine it's either that or Austin. That's a good call. I've been following the Austin scene pretty close. I have a buddy that her name's Heather Shaw. And she actually got...
Yeah, I know Heather.
You know Heather?
Yeah, I know Heather.
Get out of here.
Yeah, Jim Carrey. Yeah.
Jim Carrey.
Yeah, sure. Dude, I did shows with her in LA.
Dude, she is amazing. I haven't talked to her, I think, since the pandemic. She was on my show before that. She's unbelievable, man. She's so
funny. No, I love her energy. But she just moved somewhere else, though. She left Austin. I think she moved somewhere else.
Oh, did she? Yeah, because she was in Florida. She was in Orlando for... before the pandemic, and then she moved.
Maybe that's because she's not in Austin anymore. Yeah, I gotta check. But yeah, no, Austin's great. However, if I moved anywhere realistically, I think it would be New York City.
Yeah,
because that's where I started. That was the first place I lived in the U.S. Because I came from Germany first. I came here. I used to do some modeling when I was younger, so nice. I went to New York for Fashion Week, and I would stay at model apartments that my agency provided for us. Nice. With like 8 dudes sharing one bathroom in Brooklyn. So that was a very luxurious experience.
As you want to do every time you're in New York.
Yeah. Exactly. No, that's just, yeah. So I don't know. What I realized about LA is that I love it and it's beautiful and the weather is great unless there's a hurricane like yesterday.
Yeah.
But
how you doing with that, by the way?
Oh, it's good. It's
Everyone's
good. I made a
fine?
reel about it. It's like people were like making it a big deal. It was just a lot of rain. It was fine. In LA, at least, it was fine.
Yeah.
But LA just is so nice and so convenient, and everybody has nicer apartments because it's a little less expensive than New York. Sure. But that makes it almost too chill. So when I'm here in LA, I don't hustle as much. The energy here, I'm not nearly as productive in LA as I am when I go to New York.
For sure.
Because when I'm in New York,
you got that fucking...
Ooh.
Yeah, no doubt.
I really believe in the energy of a place. Like collectively, there's an energy that you adapt subconsciously. And in New York, whether you want it or not, you're going to work harder.
For sure. Yeah. And it's the culture, it's the community, it's the city. I mean, even though, New York is known for like, oh, it's dangerous and it's a lot of people and
Mhm.
everyone's asshole. It's really not though. I mean, I have friends
Yeah.
that were up there. I used to go there all the time. It's not what you think. I mean, people are part of a community and a
Mhm.
group of friends and the spots to go. But if you're
Yeah.
just walking around the street and you see a total stranger with their headset on and you're like, "Hey, good morning," they're gonna be like, "Go
Yeah.
fuck yourself." Like
Yeah.
that's how. But if you're like
Yeah.
entrenched in the community and you're in it, it's such a great city. It's just
Yeah. Yeah.
it's expensive.
It is, and I go there once a month right now for stand-up comedy. So once a month I go to New York, and I just like go for a week, and I usually stay at hotels right now, which is just the thing is,
Right.
when I first did that, I realized, okay, I'm going to New York, I'm spending so much money on a shitty hotel. I'm spending like $350 on like a really basic hotel where I
It's like a
can't even do
studio. Like
dude, I could not even do a
Yeah.
push-up in my room. It was
Right.
crazy. It's called the Moxie Hotel. I mean, they're nice and stuff, but there's literally no space. They were so efficiently designed, so there's literally no space. So and still very expensive. So I was like, I don't want to spend time in my room because it sucks. And also,
Sure.
I'm
Yeah.
spending so much money here, so I'm gonna make every single second the most efficient second I can possibly. I'm gonna make the seconds as German as they can be. Okay, and, and that's why in New York, 1 week in New York, probably I get as much done as I would get done in 4 weeks in California.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah,
Yeah, there is something special about an energy in a place. I mean, I
yeah,
feel that a lot in Florida because I was born and raised in Florida, and I've lived all over the country, but I've put my flag mostly in Florida. But
yeah.
there's something about that energy here where it's a lot of New Yorkers, and you could tell, Northeast, Boston, Jersey, New York, they all come to Florida. So you could tell,
Makes
like
sense.
over the
Yeah,
decades, like my father's from Jersey, so like over the
yeah.
decades, you could tell it's been like kind of oozed into Florida a little bit. So there's this
Got
cool
it.
like half hustle, half retired, chill,
Mm.
relaxed.
Half hustle,
Um,
half alligator mentality. I like that.
le-
I like
less
that.
underwear. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a cool community to be a part of for sure. But yeah,
yeah,
you're right though, because when you win, I've noticed it when I used to live in like North Carolina for a little bit when I had a business, and I was up there, and it's like just it's a different type of human that's up there. They don't give a
yeah,
shit about work. They're chilling, they're relaxing, they're cozy, curling up with cocoa. Me, I'm like, we got to work, we got to go, we got to do stuff. So
yeah.
you got to be a part of that, especially if you want to be successful. And did you
So you,
always have that when you were in
yeah.
Germany from here, or did it kind of a ramp up when you were in the States?
No, I've always had it,
You've
and
always
I've
had
always
that.
done better in places that naturally support that.
Mm,
I've
interesting.
always done better. I went to a lot. I travel a lot. So when I was doing modeling, I actually started YouTube right after. So I didn't have a home for like 8-9 years because I was traveling full time. I would go to Asia for 3 months, go to like New York for Fashion Week for 3 months, go to
Oh,
Milan,
sick.
go to
Yeah.
Australia. Then I had some modeling contracts in like I did modeling in like Singapore, Korea. They pay
Ah,
very well, so they have like they
sure.
give me contracts for like 2-3 months, and I would just stay in a different place. So whenever I was in a place though that really supported that, I felt better. Like New
Yeah.
Zealand, for example, is the most beautiful place in the world, but it's so chill because people are like just it's so safe, and there's so many sheep, and
Yeah.
there's a kiwi, there's a flightless bird that is blind. Do you know that? And the bird survived and somehow made it and still not extinct. How is that possible? Like it's this, it says a lot about the place when a flightless blind bird is on the top of the food chain. It can't be that
Yeah.
hard
Yeah.
to live there. So
That's
yeah,
hilarious. Yeah, how did it survive all those thousands of years and just that's how safe New Zealand is. Yeah, it's funny.
exactly. So
Yeah.
in traveling, I always was very productive, and I sometimes felt a little anxious in places where I couldn't be as productive.
Mm,
I'm
yeah.
naturally not a type of guy who just
Yeah.
sits by the beach and
Yeah,
smokes weed and hang. That's not me.
yeah,
Yeah.
dude. I mean, listen, I don't do drugs anymore because I just popped out a kid and I'm married and I can't
Congrats.
anymore.
Let's go.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
You popped out a kid.
Yeah,
Let's go.
well, I popped out
Science.
in the
Yeah.
very beginning. It went into her and she physically popped it out. But
Okay, she did. Okay, cool.
yeah, but it kind of came to me a little bit. I did a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've always been the type of person where when it did come to drugs and partying, I was always the upper type of guy. Like I could never like be one of those folks that were like, "Hey man, you want to go and chill and hang out in a room and watch a
Yeah.
lava lamp?" Like I could never. I
Yeah.
just was never that. Even when I'm sober, I just don't. When I'm
Yeah.
drinking, I'm always like a hype drunk just because I
Yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
It's like if you're gonna do it and get blacked out, I don't want to sit on a couch. I do that when I'm sober. Like
Yeah.
let's have a good
Yeah.
time.
That
Um,
makes sense.
and that's important, I think, not just like physically, but I'm noticing that a lot on social media. And you have a big following too, so I'm curious your thought on this. But when I started to gain, just in the past like year or two, a large presence on social media, I realized that the community too was a lot like me.
Hmm.
So like, unless it was these negative haters on this Mario video, but aside from that,
Sure.
everyone else is pretty like, pretty positive, pretty excited, pretty jazzed up. They like seeing that type of fun content. And
Yeah.
it kind of motivates you as a creator, or in your case, a comedian, to where it gives you that fuel, even though you've never met these folks and you probably never will. But it's just being part of that community, very similar to like being in a city that has that
Yeah.
energy, right? Would you agree with that?
Oh, for sure. You also
Yeah.
adapt to the community you're around 100%. And what
Mm.
happened with me is actually, and I'm doing a big rebrand right now towards comedy, because what happened is I did, when I was modeling, I naturally attracted a very, gay audience that wanted to see a lot of sexy photos because I worked as an
Sure.
underwear model. So I would post a lot of underwear content. And then I
Yeah.
realized that I would have a community that is like, likes all this content that at some point I didn't connect with anymore, you
Mm.
know but you're still influenced by the community because you get that feedback loop. So it's
Sure.
very real, the energy you're around, whether you're in a city or your friends or even an online community, that
Yeah.
I think it's important to surround yourself with people who are doing what you essentially want to do, because that's what's going to push you there.
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
so that's what I noticed, because they like, when I would post, even now it's changing a little bit. When I post on Instagram, when I post a shirtless selfie,
Right.
I would get like 20,000 likes,
Yeah.
easy. So
Yeah.
now it's like, and then I had to change when I post my first stand up clips. They would get like, 800 likes, and then I'm like, okay, well, I
I get
guess so. Maybe I should do some more shirtless photos, even though I'm not modeling
right.
anymore, right? So I had to really be true to myself and
Yeah.
see, okay, what is essentially what I want to do, and kind of distance myself from the validation and the vanity metrics of getting a lot of
Yeah.
likes. Because what's the point in getting all these likes if it doesn't serve your purpose and what you're trying to do, which in
For
my case is comedy. So
for
yeah.
sure. No,
Yeah.
well said. I had a buddy, Amadeo. He's an Italian that now lives in American, and he had a now I think he's up to like I don't know 600,000 followers or something on TikTok, and he
Hmm.
started off as he still does modeling and stuff, but just relating to you, he started off as a model, started doing modeling content, realized it wasn't like that wasn't his purpose. He liked
Yeah.
talking about real estate, flipping houses, being a man, being able to change oils, like talking about shit that's gonna like educate people.
Alpha
So
content, right?
yeah, like when you hear that, you're like, no one's gonna like that shit. And
Yeah.
turns out like that's how he started gaining a following when he switched up his content and did
Yeah.
things that he enjoyed, right? Because it's true what they say. I mean, you can love what you do, but
Hmm.
you're not gonna be able to do that forever if you don't actually love what you do.
Exactly.
You have to
Exactly.
enjoy it and you have to so
Yeah.
I think you're on the right track with that rebrand. You just occasionally gotta, you gotta show your dick a little bit. No big deal. Who cares?
Just one little ball sex slip,
Yeah,
give the girls what they want, kind of,
yeah. I mean, dude,
keep
it
keep
worked
them
for
engaged.
Paris Hilton. You know what I mean? Fuck it. You just give that little
100%. No,
slip.
it is true. And I'm not gonna, in comedy, it's weird because, like, it's a very, especially in Austin, it's a very, I would say, very straight bro-y environment. And then
Sure.
I grew up in a very, like, I'm European, like a lot of the modeling, and I
Right.
dress a little differently. I dress more like, fucking European. I wear like shirts. People say I dress like Harry Styles sometimes. This is just what I like, right? And then
Yeah.
for a while, I was also trying to fit in with that crowd, and like, trying
Sure.
to dress down and only wear like baseball caps and sweatpants. But I was like,
Mm,
that's not me. So I think authenticity is really the key to anything. Like, because now I'm like,
mm.
I dress like a douchebag and I fucking embrace it. I go on stage, I'm like, yo, I recently
Yeah.
found out that I kind of look like a douchebag, and that's a joke now. So like I talk about it, and
Yeah.
I think that also makes you different.
Mm.
I was trying to, even the shirtless photos, I'm always like, oh, if I post a shirtless photo from my modeling days, it's gonna, like, some bookers are gonna think I'm a complete douchebag, and then they're not gonna book me for comedy shows, which might be true for some people, but also, fuck it, it's me. It also makes me different, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm now embracing it more. I was always trying to please people for so long, especially with modeling, because you literally got to please everybody to get a job. It's not about you. You got to, like, make sure that the casting
Yeah.
director likes you, your agent likes the way you look, the way your body looks. You have to be more skinny if they want you to be more
Sure.
skinny. So now I'm like, fuck all that. I'm just gonna do, I'm gonna do me.
That's awesome. Man. Yeah, and what made you dip into comedy? Was it something you always wanted to do before modeling, or was like as you were modeling, you were just kind of, let me give this a shot?
Yeah, dude, it was always there. It was always there, but I never realized it. Like I grew up in a small town in Germany. It's called Alpirsbach im Hochschwarzwald. Okay.
Yeah,
Look it up.
I've heard of
Look
it.
it up. Look it up. So I grew up there and I did pretty well in school. So the only path was being an engineer, right? I studied to become I did chemical engineering and I studied business and all that. And I liked it. I really enjoyed studying and I like chemistry above everything. But there was always comedy. I watched these comedians on German television. I was always like, yo, I want to do that. And I could do that. But there was no example. There was no theater class. There was nobody it's a town of 800 people.
Oh, wow.
Everybody's an engineer and works for Mercedes. At the Mercedes, the factory is like 40. So Stuttgart is like 45 minutes away. So there was no example of anybody doing anything creative. So I had this vision and I wanted to do comedy, but I didn't even know that it was conceivable. I didn't even know it was an option. Okay.
Yeah.
So then through doing, coming to the US and doing modeling and doing some acting, I saw people who were doing more creative things like acting. And I was like, okay, maybe there's something there. And then I did it. And again, it took the environment for me to actually realize that that's a possible option,
Yeah. I mean, second you change your environment, because maybe it was America, maybe it was Australia, something else, but until you got out of that realm of, hanging around car dealerships and being a chemical engineer, until you got out of that, you weren't going to be able to have your full potential, right?
100%. That's why I think traveling is the most important thing anybody can ever do. And
For sure, dude. Yeah,
I was lucky as a European, we travel more, I feel like. Just by nature of how close everything is. But I spent a year I lived when I was 15 years old, I spent 1 year in Peru in South America. And that was when it started, when I was like, okay, there's more than just the German way,
Yeah. I mean, dude, kudos to you, man, because a lot of us Americans, we're still stuck in that fucking way. I talked to a lot of buddies, specifically like guys over in Europe too, like my buddy that was born and raised in Rome. He told me some fucking stories when he's like over here, and I always tell people they're like, yeah, I like this area, I like this state, I do this, especially people in like California, Texas, like New York. A lot of people are stuck in their ways, and then I'm like, just leave for a month, and you'll realize like not everyone's a fucking hardcore liberal Democrat. Not everyone's a hardcore Republican. Like, just get out, branch out a little bit, get away from like the news and the noise, and experience.
It's a bubble.
Yeah, dude, it is a bubble, man. And I feel like every place we go here in America, in particular, maybe you disagree, but every place in America, I feel like we're so polarized, and everyone's stuck in their own bubble, right?
Yeah.
Until we either get out of this and something drastic and crazy happens, and we start living a little bit more. I think the perfect formula is like a little European and American kind of mix. We need to find that median of like, eating healthier. Like, I love how Italy just passed that. What's that damn bill? Where they banned all synthetic ingredients in their food. So companies can't make any synthetic ingredients in their food.
Great.
So they're the only country that's done that. So like, you look at that versus America, obviously we're the fucking opposite. And
yeah, dude, 100%. That, and then you know what I noticed that because I go to Europe quite often. I just came back from a wedding in Germany a couple weeks ago, and you know what I noticed when I eat very healthy, or like I pretty natural, no processed food. I don't really eat bread or anything. More like paleo.
I could tell by the tank top, bro. Nice. Keep it up.
Okay, cool. Thank you. And then but when I go to Italy or Germany, even if I eat bread, it doesn't bother my stomach as much. I just feel like the quality of the food, it's just less processed and just more natural, right? In Germany, like when I get bread, it's like literally my uncle was a baker, and there was nothing except for like wheat and water, and that's pretty much how they make bread. Yeah. So I feel like in America, if I eat bread here, it's always like there's lactose in bread for some reason I don't understand. There's like lactose. Some bread has lactose. I'm like, how is that even a thing?
Sugar and natural ingredients. Yeah, it's
corn syrup, everything. Yeah.
Like my dad makes his own bread. He actually just dropped some off before we hopped on because he lives close by to me.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's 3 ingredients, and you look
Yeah.
at you taste that bread, I could eat an entire loaf
Yeah.
versus like I have 2 bagels here from like, Thomas Bagels or
Yeah.
whatever they come,
Yeah.
and you're
Yeah.
just like you're on the couch in a coma. It's
Yeah. Exactly.
it's
Exactly. Yeah.
fascinating, man. It's even
Yeah.
more fascinating that we can't really do anything about it. Like as the consumer, we've been fighting and bitching and complaining, but they're just these companies are so powerful, man.
Well,
You
it's
know,
also like goes back to the, what people want. And
right?
most people don't have that awareness. It's like, again, a bubble. Like most people, I think,
That's right.
that are not in, big cities or have awareness, they just don't give a fuck. And
Yeah.
California's different. I mean, what you can do, you can go to Erewhon and spend $25 on a loaf of bread. Do you know Erewhon?
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah,
Yeah. Erewhon is wild, dude.
yeah,
Crazy.
nuts, right?
But I'm assuming that, I mean, if you pay, again, you don't even know what that, but I'm assuming if you pay that much of a premium, you have some sort of, you can have a better conscience of like knowing that it's probably a little safer when it comes to the ingredients, but who
Yeah.
knows?
Maybe.
Who knows?
I don't know. I still don't trust fucking companies. That's a problem in America. You can't really trust anybody. Like we're so greedy, and that's why we have been the superpower for quite some time. Is because
Sure.
we're greedy fucks. But
Yeah.
now it's
That's
like
the,
you
above
know,
everything. Yeah.
yeah. But
For
now it's
sure.
like consumers. We're kind of like, it sucks now that we're so greedy because now we don't give a shit. Like, because
Yeah.
if you're a big company or if you're the government, like at the end of the day, what are you thinking? You thinking that there's not going to be more humans to fuck up? Like if they kill 33 million of us here in America a year, they don't give a shit. I think there's something crazy like 100,000 kids are born a day in America.
Mm.
Like,
Oh, wow.
so they're always having business. They're fine.
Yeah.
They don't give a shit if they kill us.
Dang.
It's wild, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Interesting.
That's crazy. Well, I feel like in Europe it's just that's what you're saying with in America, profit is like that's the number one. That's above everything. And I think this has to be a balance. I don't want to be that guy who's like, oh, everything's better in Europe. But there are some things to be said about that. Whenever I go back to Europe, I feel like it's just a lot more balanced, right? Even what you talked about with homelessness, like in Europe, like, and I thought about it. I had a big scare with the immigration. I came back from Mexico during COVID, and for some stupid reason, they put me into the secondary interrogation room. It's like you're American citizen, so you probably have never gone there, and I hope you will never. But it's awful. They're such assholes. They're so rude to you because they want to emotionally break you. I think it's their job to be abusive to you, to like break you so you break down and confess to whatever you're doing. It's crazy. So basically they helped me there and they told me all this stuff and they were like, okay, they suspected that I illegally hired somebody, whatever. And then they were like, okay, we're going to take your visa away from you and you're never going to be able to come back to the US. And then they send me to a separate room for like 30 minutes or so. And I'm in no phone. They took my phone from me, and I'm in there just like, okay, well, my life is over. Like my life in the US is over. So what am I going to do? And I'm the kind of guy. I'm very like matter of fact. I'm like, okay, what's the next step? Should I move to? And I was thinking, should I move to Barcelona? Should I move to Lisbon? Should I move to Berlin?
Yeah.
And I thought about it. I was like, you know what? In Europe, especially if you want to raise kids and you want to have a regular job, for example, if you want to be an engineer or you want to work in somewhere in business or be a doctor, anything like that. I think Europe is a fantastic place because it is safe, it is cheap, tuition's free, healthcare is never an issue. But if you want to become very wealthy and you want to do your own thing, you want to start a company, the US is way better. So I think it's that's
where
just
you're
how
at
it
in your
is.
life. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if I wasn't doing, and I'll be honest, if I was not doing, I think the quality of life in Europe is amazing too, and it's way cheaper to live there. Real estate, unbelievable in the US. I've never seen this. Is unbelievable. When my dad or my mom come from Germany, they're like blown away because Germany is a very industrial country. You have everything, you have all the entertainment, but it's a fraction of the price. You can get a place in Berlin. I mean, in LA, I paid like $3,000 for a 1-bedroom. It's pretty small. If $3,000 in Berlin, you get like a 4-bedroom in Berlin, in one of the coolest cities in Europe, in the world, maybe. So it's just wild. And in Germany, it's so hard to be rich, but it's also so hard to be homeless.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Because I've never seen as many rich people as in LA. I've never seen as many billionaires. I've never gone to as many parties in the hills where some people just have that that FU money, just
Yeah.
like insane Rolls Royce. That level of wealth I have never seen in Germany, but I
Sure.
also have never seen as many homeless people and people who are really struggling
Yeah.
and have nothing.
Well,
In
and
Germany,
it's
everybody's kind of middle class. Yeah.
yeah, and it's all like substance too, right? Like the problem with having that much money and greed, and it's because in the U.S. you can get hookers and drugs and booze, and not that you
Yeah.
can't do that stuff in Europe, but the level of which we do everything, like that's the problem with America is we always want more. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
in I don't know, you tell me about Germany, but if you're in Berlin and you're partying, you might go out, you might hang out, and the goal is to do a couple bumps and have a good time, right?
Yeah.
That's maybe.
Yeah.
In America, it's like, bro, we need to OD. Like
Yeah.
that's the American mindset is we have to go hard on everything we do. And
Yeah.
because of
Yeah.
that, I think a lot of people blow their money faster. They cheat on their wives
True.
faster.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
eat themselves to death faster. Like there's all these crazy, like, I need everything. And that's why
Mhm.
there's more homeless people, is because they go so hard and
Sure.
something goes down. Because, I've talked about this on the show before where I've had someone that actually was homeless and worked their ass off to become not homeless. And
Great.
they would admit that they were homeless for what they did. Like they fucked up. They
Mhm.
fucked up their lives and they had to live in the dirt, and they eventually picked themselves up and got together. But no one like just is born homeless. I mean, I'm sure there's people that are born homeless. But you know what I mean? Like there's always a reason why we're there, and that's because we live maybe above our means.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
I'm like, there's reasons for it. And in Germany and in Europe, I could see how, yeah, you don't make as much money,
Mhm.
but you're also not being a freaking greedy prick like we are in America. That's-
Yeah, there's definitely, I think, more modesty culturally in Europe, or in Germany
Yeah.
at least. You definitely can see that, because I have a friend, for example, he's a comedian too, and he's not homeless, but I can see how fast it can go. For example, he lost his job because of some layoffs or whatever, and
Mhm.
then he got bit by a dog and had like
Rabies?
had an infection in his leg or like some infection, and
Yeah.
it was pretty serious. So he had to go to the hospital. He lost his insurance because he lost his job. So then he couldn't pay the fucking medical bill. And it's like insane how much, medical, how much you pay for anything medical related. In Germany,
Yeah.
everybody, there was never even an issue. Like I don't remember, and I lived in Germany for like 19 years of my life. I don't remember ever going to a doctor, whether it's a dentist or anything, and paying anything. It's just,
'Cause it's
even
all
the
free,
concept
yeah.
of that is kind of foreign. The only thing you pay for would be like plastic surgery or something like that.
Sure. Yeah.
But
Cosmetic
anything
stuff.
else, yeah. But anything else, you always save. You always covered.
Yeah.
Everything's
definitely-
inflated here.
Definitely not here,
Costs.
buddy.
Yeah,
And that's because a lot of stuff is privatized too. Like even hospitals, like we just had
sure.
our baby girl a couple weeks ago, and that bill was freaking outrageous. And it's
So you pay for having a kid too?
oh, dude, you pay for everything. Yeah, we had to pay for the overnight stay because we stayed there for a couple days. You got to
Okay.
pay for everything. Yeah.
Dang.
Medication. Like even when they request, I've been in the hospital a couple times in my life. Even when they like ask to give you meds, if they give
Yeah.
you morphine or something, you're like, all right, fuck it, I'll pay for it. Give it to me because it's good. But usually, if they're like, if your pain is moderate, they'll give you like Tylenol.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
if you're smart enough and you ask for the bill at the end of it before you pay, it'll give you an itemized bill, and the Tylenol is like $800.
Mm.
But it's Tylenol. You can get that at CVS or the drugstore for $10.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But everything is just like you said. Everything is inflated, from the hospital
Yeah.
bills to our milk. I mean, it's
Yeah,
crazy,
dude,
bro.
that's the thing that really kind of, I have a personal story with that, because my friend was struggling with depression really hard here in the US, and he's
Mhm.
my best friend. Like really, we're very close, and I was helping him. It was during the pandemic too. I was helping him through a very dark time, and I saw how the American medical system was treating him. Where like they put him on any medication, like gabapentin, even lithium, like really hardcore drugs that would not really help him long term, but just kind of put a band-aid on, and also in some way make him addicted to the substance, right? And that was covered by insurance. But then he did trauma therapy, he did EMDR, he did a bunch of different, he did everything, all different types of therapy you can imagine. And that was like $35,000. Nothing was covered by insurance, which is so fucked up that like the thing, and he's good insurance. He pays like, he's very wealthy. He pays like $700, $800 a month or something like that for insurance. So it's pretty good
good
insurance,
stuff,
I'm
yeah.
assuming. So even that was not covered, and it just makes me like think. I was like, Jesus, the stuff that actually helps him long term to heal
Yeah.
is not covered, but the stuff that makes money long term for pharmaceutical companies, that's just how it is. And no,
Big
that's
pharma. Big
yeah.
pharma. Those
Yeah,
fuckers.
so that made me really angry. I was like, God damn it,
Yeah, it is annoying, man.
Yeah.
Like even you look at like people that are recovering from like, going to AA and trying to get help and rehab.
Yeah.
You would think, I mean, at the end of the day, that shit should be covered by insurance / the government should pay for it, right?
Yeah,
I mean, something should go down because you figured the more healthier people are, like your citizens,
sure,
healthier humans are, the better society we're going to have. You know what I mean?
absolutely, yeah.
But I mean, that's unfortunate. That's not how they think.
No,
And I don't see it changing anytime soon. It seems like it's gotten worse since 1776. You know? I mean, look at you. The sirens are.
It's
the
got
sirens
worse.
are.
1776, everything was perfect. 1776, the country was fucking thriving.
Yeah, dude. Like there was great. There was only like 500 people in the country. I mean, yeah, sure, women and black people were slaves, but aside from that, it was pretty good.
Aside from it, it's small, little.
Yeah, there was incest and all and smallpox, but other than that,
Yeah.
that's pretty good. There's a great bit that I think Rogan had in one of his stand-up specials, and he's like, imagine if like Thomas Jefferson can come back and look at what we've done, and he talks about like gun control and all that, and he's like, bro, you guys are still following these fucking right these Second Amendment, you're still following that shit. I wrote that with a feather in 1776. Like what?
Yeah,
It's just so funny how we haven't that part.
Dude,
we
that's
haven't
funny.
changed, which is asinine. But like everything else, we've completely destroyed. And
sure.
it's crazy, bro. And I don't listen. I don't want to bash America because I love being American. But at the same time, there's always room for opportunity, and I feel like
100%. I think America and people. I'm saying this also with the grain of salt. Like, sure, there's also things that were fucked up in Europe, right? I feel like America is still. I mean, also you can people always compare, and I'm saying this as a European. People always compare Europe, and they say, "Oh, Europe, such low crime rate, such good, health, whatever." But also, it's hard to compare a country like Switzerland,
right,
with the United States of America, because the diversity, and not saying that diversity is bad, but like having a country that is so homogenous. It makes life a lot easier, and it's smaller, easier to manage. The U.S. is so big. I mean, the U.S. is like Europe. If you think about it, it's not like Germany or Switzerland. So it's very hard to compare. And also having so many different cultures in one place, it obviously is hard to, manage
compare,
it. So,
I mean, you can't compare like New York City to Idaho.
No, exactly.
It's like New York is very diverse. There's a lot of people in one spot, and there's so many things to take in consideration. I mean, there's the stress of everyone has to take the cab, and everyone's walking, and there's higher crime rates because there's higher people, and there's a lot more people in a condensed spot, and maybe that has something to do with mental health, and maybe people are losing their heads a little bit. So there's just it's hard to compare apples to apples because there's really no comparison. That's why America is so unique. Is we are a superpower because we're different.
Yeah.
We're different, man. But I mean, we're glad you're here, Mario. I think I could speak for everybody when I say that.
Oh, thank you. Tell that to the TSA officer, to the immigration customs dude who fucking just bullied me for 2.5, 3 hours. I was in there getting bullied by these people.
Do you like bring your own gloves at this point where it's like, all right, boys, here you go. Check me.
My own gloves? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I should.
Yeah.
Dude, but like, speaking of that, and I kind of want to write a stand-up bit about this because I had this moment, and it was the most awkward moment. When they do the security screening, and it happened to me when I came back from Germany. The screening when you stand at the thing, and it goes, bloop, the scanner.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
The millimeter wave or whatever. So I walk out there, and this officer looks like a Navy SEAL. He looks at me, and he goes, "Sir, we've detected an abnormality in the groin area."
Oh, no.
And I just thought that sounded like he was hitting on me, It just sounded a little weird. So then he was like, "I'm gonna have to pat you down. Do you want to do it here or in private?" And everything about it it sounded like, I don't know, it sounded like the beginning of an adult film to me. It just happened. I just had this moment, and then the dude literally he patted me down, and he was like, "I'm gonna go down the front, around the thighs, up the buttocks. And I was like, what the fuck? So
He's
but it was
explaining
so,
everything about it. It's so
yeah, he
cool.
was almost like teasing me with it. It was so weird. And then he just I don't know, it was just a weird moment what I had. And then this massive, 6'5" dude, looks like
Yeah.
he like just pads me down, and then but really goes in there, and it was such an awkward moment. I was just looking around, I was people looking at me.
And then
I don't know.
and then you came and
And then
that's it.
exactly. He touched my
Yeah.
like the inside of like the inner groin. It was interesting. And then but then he was like, "You're good to go." And he said bye. And I was like, "That's it? You're not even gonna buy me breakfast or something?" Like, what? This is how this ends. It's just so
Yeah.
cold.
What a slut
Um,
he was, huh?
Exactly. It was just
Dude, that would be a
I
great
thought I was
bit. Yeah,
special.
you should.
I
You should
want
put
to write
something
about it.
together.
I just thought about this. It was happened
Yeah.
2 days ago. I was like, "Oh shit, this is weird."
So I mean, I think what you can learn from all these situations is just you can't leave. Obviously, you
I
can't.
can't leave.
Yeah, you can't go to the airport. Yeah, you
No,
just they have it
no,
out
I
for you.
just
They might have.
no.
I wonder if they have like your mug shot like in the back, and they're like, "Hey, this motherfucker comes with the tank top. He needs a felt hat down,
Exactly.
and he's probably going to Germany, so we need to stop him and make sure you
Yeah,
hit him on the way
yeah.
back." Yeah,
Yeah.
they
Oh,
got your eyes on
dude.
you, bro.
They do. They do. I feel targeted.
Well, listen, bro, I didn't realize, but we're almost at an hour.
Cool.
Yeah, time's flying. But this was good, man. It was good to get to know you, and I'd love for you to come back on. We could shoot the shit some more.
Yeah.
But for now,
Absolutely. It's fun,
let
man.
everyone know where they could find you on social media, what you're up to. If you got any shows coming up, I'll make sure I shout those out
dude.
as well.
Yeah. So I'm doing it's Mario Adrion on all platforms. You find me on Instagram, Tumblr, Google Plus, Pinterest, LinkedIn, all those good platforms. All right.
Grindr.
MySpace, obviously. Grindr, not so much, but MySpace. You find me on Grindr because a lot of people are catfishing.
Stop.
A lot of my gay friends send me photos and they're like, "Yo, Mario, I just matched with you on Grindr." I was like, "Dude, yes, that's fantastic." And it's a photo of me. I should, man. I was
Yeah.
like, "What's their objective?" Because it's a photo of me and it's not me, and it's like they gave me some name, like whatever they call me, Hans Friedrich or some German name or whatever, and then this is my modeling photo, just in my underwear, and I'm like, what is the end goal here? Like, what are they gonna do when they actually find a date? Are they just gonna show up and be like, "Well, I got you"?
I got you. That's so funny.
Yeah. So no, Mario Adrian's everything, and I'm doing. Well, the big thing is like I'm touring right now. It's on my website marioadrian.com/comedy. Email list. You can sign up and get all the updates. I'm doing a show in New York Comedy Festival, in November. That's the headlining show, my first 1 hour show. So yeah,
Sick, man.
November 12th.
Congrats.
Thank you.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Where's that at again?
At the stand in New York.
Oh, in New York. Okay, cool. Are you going to stay up
Yeah.
there for a couple of weeks, or are you just going for the
I
weekend?
think so. I think I'm staying for the whole New York Comedy Fest. Probably 2 weeks. I'm going to stay in New York, get that hotel where I can't do push-ups and have a good time and hustle.
Of course. That's how you do it. Cool, man. Well, listen, bro, keep up the great content, man. It's hilarious and nuts. It's cool to see you focus on this comedy because I think just from the videos I've seen, man, it looks like you're loving it and you're good at it. So just keep it up,
Thank
bro.
you so much. I appreciate you. Thanks so much.
All right, dude. Well, if you can, if you get some time today, shoot me a couple photos, preferably clothed, and I'll use that for the channel art and stuff like that.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Amazing. Well, I'll send you right now. I'll send you some nudes and then, we're good to go.
My man. All right, Mario. I appreciate you, bro.
Sweet. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Have
man,
a
this
good
was
one.
fun. Oh, hey there. First of all, thanks for making it to the end of this video. Not a lot of people do, according to the YouTube analytics, but I do want to say thanks for listening to this. There's some more episodes if you want to check those out, and they're all just as good. But if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Check out those timestamps below to reference some of the topics I talked about, as well as some discount links to some of our sponsors and affiliates. But thanks for listening to this episode, and we'll see you next time.